up, YouTube world? Welcome back to my channel. I hope that everybody was doing well and you guys are good. If you guys are new to this channel or you just wonder what my channel is about, basically my channel is a place where I get to share a part of my world with the rest of the world, hoping that it can encourage, empower, and motivate you to live and seek out the life that you were meant for. So I haven't posted in a while, and the reason being is because for the past few weeks I was really thinking about what I wanted to share with you guys. I didn't want to just put out content just for the sake of putting it out, but I wanted to put out something that could really encourage you guys and help you guys in any way. So I just began to sit down and think and plan out like what is it that I want to share for the next few weeks or moving on. And a thought came to mind, and I was reminded of my New Year's resolution. I told myself that this year in 2021 I want to focus on my emotional, spiritual, and physical health. So physically I've been trying to eat properly, exercise more, I've been trying to lose weight. Even with spiritually, I've been trying to get into my devotionals more, getting back into the word and really studying it and getting into prayer and all that stuff. But I thought that for this year, I thought maybe it would be great if I could take you guys on my journey of pursuing emotional health. As I'm getting older, I'm just realizing more and more how important your emotional health is. I feel like many of us, we grow up not really dealing with our emotional health. Many of us, I feel like we grow up focusing so much on the external things in life, but we never focus or deal with the internal parts that make up who we really are. If I could just share a short Bible passage in Luke chapter 6 verse 45, it says something along the lines with, our mouth speaks what the heart is full of. I think this is so true. We can't hide what's inside of us. Eventually, in time, who we are on the inside, or the undealt stuff that we have internally, it would eventually come out, whether it's through our behavior, whether it's through the way we talk, the way we think, the way we react to things, it's eventually gonna come out. And honestly, that's been my story for the past few years. And I would love to share with you guys just a little bit of how I realized that I'm not as emotionally healthy as I thought, because I saw how it was affecting me with my relationship with God. It was affecting me in the ministry God has called me to, and it was affecting me with my relationship with my family and the people around me. And I truly believe that this is a journey that God wants me to go through, and that God is gonna walk with me to, and this is a place that He brought me here because He wants to take me to a deeper place. So I just would like to share just kind of when this all started. This started about like 3-4 years ago with my wife's first pregnancy, which was a miscarriage. And a lot of people would say that it's a very common thing and it happens often, which the facts show it does, but that doesn't change or make the pain of it go away or any less. It's gonna have some kind of effect when it comes to the family that's going through it, right? It doesn't matter how often it happens. So when we first got the news, it completely destroyed my wife because we were so excited. This was her first pregnancy, but however, for me, I went numb. Like, I just had no emotions. And I think in that moment I realized there was something wrong. Read about articles about how husbands would try to stay strong in front of their wives and not try to be so sad, but behind the scenes they're like breaking down and they're crying. But I wasn't going through none of that stuff. I just went completely blank. And again, I think at that moment I just knew that there was something not right with me emotionally. There was something inside of me, in my heart, that wasn't allowing me to grieve, that wasn't allowing me to go through this process of feeling the pain and going through the pain with my wife. But instead, my mechanism was to just go numb. And that was a huge wake-up call for me. And that was the beginning of my emotional health journey. That's when I told myself that I'm gonna intentionally focus on my emotional health. I'm gonna intentionally focus on really going through some of the traumas and pain that may be in my heart that I never processed through, and to really go through it and to see how I could heal and become more emotionally healthy. So we're talking about many years of unprocessed and suppressed emotions and traumas that I told myself that I wanted to try to figure out or go through and see what the heck's going on with me. But the strange thing is that for a long time I knew that I had a lot of suppressed emotion. Because, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I don't remember a lot of my childhood. Like my memory is just, it's like almost like I never had a childhood. Like I just don't remember things. It's either I've blocked them out, or I don't care, or maybe I just have bad memory or something. But I just have absolutely no memory of my childhood. Like I'm being so honest. I barely remember anything that happened to me when I grew up, or any events, or any outings that I went, any trips, even good stuff. I don't remember anything. So when I started to think about these things, I was like, damn, there must be a lot of suppressed things that in my heart that I've never dealt with. And I'm not saying that I went through some crazy things. It could be small traumatic things that as a kid, like emotionally, it was very heavy that, you know, maybe I never dealt with. Oh, and another kind of sign for me was that it was hard for me to, you know, cry in moments. Like, I don't know if you guys ever have this, but for me, I am an emotional, and I'm a pretty sensitive dude, right? So I could, you know, there were moments in my life where I felt tears coming up to my chest, but when it came to a certain point, it was almost like something just cut it off, and I just went numb. Like I would just feel nothing. So I don't know, do you guys ever experience that? If you do, like, put in the comments below, talk to me about that. Like, tell me I'm not the only one that went through that. Like, you will feel the tears like coming up, you feel the emotion coming up, but then it's like at one moment, it's just something feel like it just cuts it off, and then like I just go completely numb. It's like no emotions. It's weird. And so I began to think about those moments, like, oh, like that's not normal. That's not right. So as I began to just intentionally like really process through some of my emotional health stuff, I came to like be real honest about some of those things, and I think that's where it starts, right? So yeah, so in the next few videos I'll share a little bit more in detail about some of my processes and some of the things I realized and some of the questions that I had during my journey, and hopefully could encourage you guys or help you guys anyway. You know, I really believe that if we don't deal with the things in our hearts, we can't really be the person that we were meant to be, because I truly believe that when we don't deal with the traumas, the pain, and the hurt, that actually comes into conflict with who we really are. Because if we don't deal with the pain, the trauma, and the brokenness, then we're gonna be constantly operating out of that. It's like almost always looking through a broken lens. Can you imagine, like, I have a crack, or my lens is all cracked up. If I never fix it, you know, and I just leave it on, eventually it'll look normal. In the beginning, you'll feel uncomfortable, I have to squint and all these things, but eventually my eyes will get adjusted to it, and it's gonna feel normal to me. Until I fix it, I was never able to see clearly. I was never able to see a certain object the way it was meant to be seen. So I think it does that with our heart too. I think our heart, if we don't deal with the brokenness and the traumas and the pain that we may have in our hearts, then we can never see clearly who we really are, or who we were really meant to be and created to be, unless we actually deal with the brokenness. I give you like one example of what I had to process through. One of my biggest struggles is procrastination. I have a big procrastination problem, but for the longest time, I just thought that maybe I'm not disciplined enough, or maybe it's my laziness, you know, maybe I'm lazy. But I knew there was something deeper, because I've tried to actively work on my procrastination. I tried to time manage, schedule things out, write to-do lists, checklists, write in my calendar what time I should be doing this and that. You know, I tried for so long to work on this procrastination, but I just seem not to get it. I keep falling back into it. There'll be moments where I get better, and then eventually I go back to it. So procrastination didn't make sense. Why do I keep struggling with it? Because it began to really affect, you know, I'm a youth pastor, so I'm in a position of leadership, and I've been a youth pastor for about 7 to 8 years, and it came to a point where it began to really affect my ministry, affect the ministry. So I had to really think of what is going on here. Why is this happening? And I realized that I procrastinate because I have a fear of failure. And that comes why, and I had to ask myself, why do I have this fear of failure? And I have a fear of failure because of shame. I realized I have a lot of shame in my heart. So because I have this fear of failure, and because I carry this shame in my heart, I procrastinate, because if I put in all this work and it doesn't plan out to be the way it was, or it doesn't turn out to be as good or whatever, I have that fear of failure. I'd rather get it done last minute and be like, okay, at least I did what I can. So now, of course, we could do practical things to overcome it, but if I never deal with the shame part of my heart, then it's going to be very hard for me to overcome the procrastination part of my behavior. Remember, whatever's on the inside eventually affects the outside. And I feel like many of us live with certain habits and behaviors or triggers that we just accept it as normal, as part of who we are, and we just say that's just who I am, when in reality that's the very thing that's in conflict with who you really are, with your true self. You know, many times we try to overcome these things through external means, and when we can't, or when we don't, we just accept it as that's who I am, when in reality maybe it's not an external issue, maybe it's an internal issue. You know, again, we all have these broken lenses because we live in an imperfect world, and I truly believe that we can only be the best version of who we are and who we were meant to be when we're able to deal with our broken lens. If we never deal with the things in our hearts, I truly believe that we will never be able to be our true self. You know, again, like we're gonna go, you know, we live in an imperfect world, we're always gonna have brokenness and pain, but I do believe that there's always the best version of who we are, and our true self could only come to be if we deal with the brokenness in our hearts. I truly believe that. So here I am in this video wanting to share my journey with you guys towards my emotional health, and my hope is that it can help and encourage anyone that may be watching. You know, I want to be as vulnerable and transparent as I can, because even if it can help one person, it's all worth it. Alright, so one practical thing that I actually did was I actually reached out to a professional counselor, a therapist. I'm actually close to scheduling because I realized I came to a point where it's like I just didn't know how to heal anymore. I didn't know how to heal. I was able to point out some of my root issues and my causes, and I'm sure there's tons more that I don't see, but I realized that I didn't know how to move forward. I didn't know how to overcome it. I didn't know how to find actual healing. So I reached out to a counselor and I decided to start, you know, meeting with this counselor. Hopefully it will start next week. Once everything is confirmed, I'll let you guys know, and I would love to share with you guys. I probably can't share everything in that conversation, but share whatever I can that could help you guys in any way. You know, I really hope that you guys could, you know, rock with me in this journey together. In my next video, I'm actually gonna talk about grief. Like, what is grief? Like, that was one of my big questions. Like, what is grief? How do you even grieve? What does that even look like? So next Tuesday, I want to talk about grief. So please come join me in my next video too. If this video was any way interesting, helpful, encouraging, or anything like that, if you guys would just comment down below, you know, some of your thoughts, perspectives, I would love to see them. But if you can also like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone else that will be interested in something like this, that could help anyone anyway, I would love to have you guys in this journey with me together, and then we could walk this out together. Alright, so that's it for today. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate you guys, and tune in for my next video next week, and I hope to see you all next week. Alright, be blessed everyone, and have a great week. Peace.